Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday night Anamkara meditation program. And with all my heart, with all my love, I welcome you to our program this evening. And it's great that you were able to join us tonight. And we're going to be doing a practice later on in the program that we haven't done for a while. We used to do it every month. A chant of the Heart Sutra, this great and extraordinary, really gift that came directly from Buddha and encapsulates the highest wisdom of Buddha's teachings, Buddhist state, really. So we'll be getting into that later. We're going to do what we've been doing as a kind of opening practice to just help the mind settle, to help us actually also step back from the mind. Now, these are two fundamental components to the practice of meditation. One is helping the mind to quiet, but the other is really practicing the detached awareness. And that's critical, even more so in some ways than quieting the mind, because there's going to be times when the mind is agitated and we're just able to watch. We're able to watch the mind knowing, oh, that's not me, that's the mind. I can step back and be the observer. And in that way, we're really aligning our mind with the greater consciousness, given so many different names, from Buddha mind to Shiva to the witness. But that consciousness that is seeing, observing, without becoming. The ordinary mind, when it sees a thought arise, it becomes the thought. Sees a feeling arise, I become the feeling. That detached awareness just watches both the mind and its becoming. So meditation is in many ways about shifting our attention, shifting our awareness from the mind that's constantly becoming to the observer. Because that observer is the infinite. That observer is the boundlessness that Buddha talked about in terms of boundless qualities of wisdom, compassion, patience, peace, unshakable equanimity. So those are the qualities of the seer who's never seen, as it's talked about in the yogic and Shaivite tradition. So we practice that by, one, coming back to the breath. Right? And we've been doing that along with the sound of the harmonium. And just allowing ourselves to follow the sound of the harmonium, inhaling, and then exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, and then continuing that. And there's a ah sound as the breath comes in, and then hum silently in the mind as the breath goes out. Ah, silently as the breath is coming in. And hum silently as the breath is going out. It's a mantra of simply, I am. I am. That I am awareness, free of having become anything. And then just continuing to breathe. Just that slow and smooth, steady breath. Especially when we're just sitting or sitting for meditation, allowing the breath to slow and deepen also helps the body to let go and let go. And it begins to shift what's going on in our nervous system, what's going on in our brain, just by that simple rhythmic pattern of slowing and deepening the breath. And the yogis figured this out thousands of years ago. We have a lot of current research from biofeedback and other ways of looking at physiology and what's going on in the brain as well as in the body, and how that simple shifting, the pacing of the breath, really invites the nervous system to let go of stress and tension, to become quieter. Also helps the part of the brain that is reactive in stress to become quieter. So that kind of breathing, which is also foundational to one limb of yoga, pranayama, the control and working with the breath. Well, the yogis work with the breath because the breath has such an impact on the mind. And this basic just level of diaphragmatic breathing, foundational to yogic practice, turns out to be extraordinarily potent for shifting our mind states and body states. We just stay with that and stay with that. When we're adding that awareness of just being the witness, invoking it with mantra, with that mantra that's a simple two-syllable mantra, ah and hum, simply meaning I am. And it's the I am awareness before it becomes anything. I am a thought, I am a feeling, I am a man, I am a woman, anything. All that stuff after the I am, we let go of. And that's what naturally begins to open the spaciousness of awareness. Because what contracts awareness? Oh, becoming identified with the mind and its content. That's what contracts our awareness. Awareness itself remains boundless. The infinitude of awareness is never lost. Right? We just become identified with forms and so don't experience that. Well, we've done that for so many lifetimes that it really takes quite a bit of effort to peel our consciousness away from the mind and its contents, thoughts, feelings, to-do lists, all that stuff. That is the hero's journey of a meditator, is being able to step back in order to be able to rediscover the foundational truth of who we are, who all beings are, what all of creation is. Because that level of knowing, it doesn't fit into the confines of thinking. No matter how good the thought is, no matter how spectacular it is. Because even in the yogic text, they'll talk about a pure thought. And pure meaning it isn't asserting duality. So the thing that taints our experience is duality. Most thoughts, well, they assert duality. I'm this and not that. I'm this body and this mind. I'm not the infinite. Those are all thoughts that are keeping us caught in this level of reality. Pure thoughts. I am Shiva. A mantra, Shivoham, Shivoham, Aham. They're still on the level of a vibration of consciousness that we can see as a thought form, but they come from beyond the ordinary mind. And especially mantra, as a throb of the infinite, comes from beyond the mind. So it's not considered mind-born. So it can serve as a vehicle for taking us beyond the mind. And that's part of the importance of mantra, is it carries this power of consciousness, Shakti. All mantras are born of Shakti, Shakti Kundalini, this innate power of consciousness to know the infinite as itself. Well, that resides in each and every one of us. When we're repeating these sublime mantras, Well, we're repeating what's already present. We're attuning the grosser form of mind with this pure form, this pure throb of the infinite that's humming inside of us with that awareness. And then can take us even beyond that. Because even those forms, as sublime as they may be, they're still forms. We want to know the infinite beyond forms as well. Then we can see, finally, that form, formlessness, all the same. The energy that springs from the infinite and takes the forms is consciousness itself. But we can't shortcut that process. That's not a, we may get it conceptually, but to know it experientially, we have to go into that profound stillness, that profound silence, where there is nothing. Nothing but pure consciousness, self-luminous, self-knowing, in ways that the mind literally cannot imagine. Now, that is monumental work for the mind. The mind is convinced that if it exists, it can think about it. And it can think it into existence. It can conceptualize it. It can possess it. It can grasp it. So it's always attempting to do that. And that's another thing that we have to let go and let go and let go and let go of. Concepts of meditation dissolve. Concepts of consciousness dissolve. Because even if I'm talking about consciousness, the mind goes, oh, I know consciousness. I got that idea. I got that concept. That's not it, though. That's the mind's form of consciousness. The consciousness of the infinite, oh, that's beyond what the mind can contain or hold or grasp, conceptualize, do anything with. So it's this tremendous paradox that we're engaged in the path of meditation. Because in a sense, we're doing practices that really can't reveal what's already there. The practices, in the end, are just aimed at helping to quiet and discipline the mind. But what's to be known, oh, that's revealed by its own power of consciousness. So I think in the Upanishads, it says that the self reveals the self to itself. The mind doesn't reveal the self to you. Your infinite nature is self-revelatory. What's the power by which it does that? Oh, we could call it Kundalini Shakti. We could call it Holy Spirit. We could call it you can call it Bodhicitta, Buddha mind, Christ consciousness. Every tradition has a name for that power that can reveal what is beyond the mind, what is even unimaginable, inconceivable to the mind. So the deep processes of meditation are all aimed at that. I say deep because there are many ways that we can engage meditation in beneficial, for health, for well-being, that aren't engaged in that. The people who meditate who may not be interested in that sort of the deep end of the pool. And so the research on how meditation can lower our blood pressure and have, healthy benefits and everything, that's all great. That's meditation as a profound relaxation exercise. Very good. However, for those who go, wait a minute, I want to be more than just relaxed. I want to know. I want to know. I long to know. I long to know who I am beyond the mind. I long to know what's the nature of the infinite, the divine. What's the substratum of all of our existence? What is that? Let me know that. Oh, then we have to go into the depths of what meditation is about and where these practices take us. And that is what takes us beyond words into that pure space of knowing in that absolute stillness. So when we talk about, things like the practice of the Heart Sutra, and the Heart Sutra is an extraordinary text, literally, delivered by Buddha as a revelation about what's the nature of mind and what's the nature of that pure knowing. And it has served as a beacon for millions and millions and millions of practitioners across literally thousands of years now, 2,500 years since Buddha spoke the words of the Heart Sutra, to help people get what this is about. Because the mind, it loves all the concepts. Oh, it likes the 36 tattvas, and it likes all the different, the 5 kinds of Shaktis, and the thises and that's. Because as it's entertaining all those notions, it's asserting its existence. It's continuing to say, oh, see, I'm important. I got this. I can keep myself going by looking at all these things that I can differentiate and talk about and say it's this and it's not that and it's that and it's not this and it's this power and not that power. All mind. All mind. So much of the philosophies and texts that one can study are still fodder for the mind. They still keep the mind going in the illusion that what it's doing is so important. Because the mind is convinced thinking is one of the most important things in the world. Because that's what it does all the time. And it doesn't want to hear that, oh, that's not what this is about. Not at all. Because the mind knows it is a string of thoughts. The mind is content. It has no existence apart from content. So it fears that kind of annihilation. It fears the end of it. And so, keep thinking. How many times you sit down to try and be silent? Oh, thoughts and thoughts and thoughts keep coming. The mind, busy, 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 saying, here I am this, I am that thought, I am this feeling, I am on and on and on. So a practice like the Heart Sutra is a way of making use of language, thought, to point to what's beyond that. To engage the mind in self-erasure. It's like the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. He erases himself. Well, in a sense, that's what happens with some of these practices. It erases the very existence of mind. Then we're left in that infinite spaciousness beyond mind. We can call it infinite spaciousness of pure consciousness. But that's not it. That's more words. And this is known across traditions. In the Taoist tradition, the Tao that can be spoken of, Lao Tzu said, is not the Tao. Anything that can be put into words, it's not it. So we have to go beyond all of them, into that stillness. The great Zen master Dogen, back in the 13th century, talked about meditation as not thinking. and he said, meditation has nothing to do with enlightenment. This was a shock for all the students. He says, enlightenment, well, that just is. To know that is to just be. Oh. So meditation is erasing thinking so that we can experience simply being. But not being encoded, conceptualized. Even when I say being, the mind goes, oh, being, yes, being, I got that. No, that's not the being. That's not it. Sorry, not that either. Right? So when we're doing the Heart Sutra, what you're going to see, of course, is that it leads directly into that negation. And that kind of negation of all the things that we think of ourselves to be, well, that we see too reflected in many different traditions. In Advaita Vedanta, self-inquiry is asking the question, who am I? Who am I? The mind springs up with an answer. And the answer in the sadhana, the practice of Advaita, non-dual Vedanta, is neti neti, not this, not this. Whatever the mind comes up with as an answer to who am I, no, neti, neti, neti. Not that, not that, not that, not that, not that. Until finally, it's been erased, gives up. Now the mind is reassured, it's going to come back. It's a faithful servant. We need it for everyday life, but we don't have to be it. We don't have to become it. We don't have to be bound by it and limited by it. It's just a thread of energy. So when we start, we're going to start in a few minutes the Heart Sutra. And it goes into, what happens as we really contemplate this. Because Buddha, literally in the Heart Sutra, he goes into that state, what we would call pure witness. And he sees, and because it starts out, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva coursing through deep Prajna Paramita. Prajna Paramita is the profound, deep wisdom, the highest wisdom. And it's literally known as the mother of all Buddhas. And in fact, the official name of the Heart Sutra is Bhagavati Mahaprajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. Bhagavati, the great goddess. Again, the divine feminine that gives birth to all, including Buddha consciousness. And that illumination of then seeing from that profound depths of that state of highest wisdom consciousness. Buddha then describes what he saw. The 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. The 5 skandhas are ways of categorizing what our inner experiences. Thoughts, feelings, the body, limited eye consciousness of the mind. These are just the heaps. Skandha literally means heap. And so it's these heaps that make up what our everyday moment by moment experience are. But when he says he sees them as empty, it means they have no existence on their own. They're completely ephemeral. The mind is like this wild kaleidoscope, things changing, feelings, moods, states, all this. And from another perspective, so is everything, is that. There's nothing that's not in constant flux. Well, we know this from the highest perspective of physics. It's all energy. There is no solid form. And that energy is constantly vibrating, moving, transforming, changing. So it's all reflected in that. So the Heart Sutra is a way of really immersing the mind in that wisdom so that it'll let go and let go and let go. So the way we do the Heart Sutra, the traditional way, is we read it out loud together. I'll be reading it out loud. And we read it together 3 times through. Then after the 3rd time, the summary mantra of the Heart Sutra is Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasangate, Bodhi, Swaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, completely beyond. Hail the goer. The Bodhisattva, that's you, the enlightened one. Swaha, so mote it be. So it's an invocation of that. Gone, gone, gone beyond. Completely. What are we going beyond? Oh, the mind and its content. Because that's all we know. We only know mind. We think we know the world. No, we know the mind's construction of the world within this brain, these neurons, these concepts. That's what we know. So if we let go of all of that, then we can start to discover what is, simply is, beyond all words, all concepts, all conceptualizations, all philosophies, everything beyond. So we're going to start now. And so we're going to go through this 3 times. And at the end, we'll be doing the gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, swaha with a drum. And then we'll just sit in the stillness that comes after that. Right? We'll just sit in that stillness. If the mind moves, you're just watching. If the mind moves, you can bring it back to hum. You can bring it back to gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, swaha. But eventually, all those mantras, they also dissolve. They dissolve into source, what's beyond the mind. So this is a vehicle for taking us into that source. That's what mantra is about. It's a vehicle given by the infinite to the finite, so the finite can reunite with the infinite. That's mantra, a gift of grace, a throb of your own self. It's yourself revealing itself to yourself beyond the mind. So we'll begin. So this is the Bhagavati Mahapragya Paramita Hridaya Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, coursing through deep Pragya Paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought. No realm of sight to no realm of thought. No ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance. To no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering, and also no source of suffering. No annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live prajna paramita with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live prajna paramita and thus attain anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore, set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, swaha. Avalokiteshvara, bodhisattva, coursing through deep prajna paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no realm of sight to no realm of thought, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering, and also no source of suffering, no annihilation, no path, no wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live prajna paramita with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live prajna paramita and thus attain anuttara samyak sambuddhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, swaha. Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, coursing through deep prajna paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no realm of sight to no realm of thought, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering, and also no source of suffering, no annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live prajna paramita with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live prajna paramita and thus attain anuttara samyak sambuddhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore, set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, swaha. 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 Now resting in that stillness, the stillness that envelops the mind, envelops every thought. Shift your attention to the stillness, the silence, out of which thoughts arise and subside, into the stillness beyond all. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, swaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, fully beyond. Hail the goer, bodhi, swaha. Gati gati parangati parasangati bodhisvaha gati gati parangati parasangati bodhisvaha gati gati parangati parasangati bodhisvaha Gone, gone, gone beyond, fully beyond, hell the goer. Gone, gone, gone beyond, fully beyond, hell the goer. Gate, gate, parangate, parasangate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, parangate, parasangate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, parangate, parasangate, bodhisvaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, fully beyond, hell the goer. Gone, gone, gone beyond, fully beyond, hell the goer. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisvaha. So we end with this prayer, and may all our practices truly benefit all beings, and may all beings know complete freedom from suffering. Namaste. The way beyond the way. Follow the way beyond the way. Practice with love and enthusiasm. Practice with discipline and perseverance. Follow the path to the end of the path. Follow the sound to the end of sound. Follow the light to the end of light. Follow time to the end of time. Om Kalima, portal beyond all. Enter where there's no entry. Go till there's no more going. Nothing, everything, gone. Annihilated by the terrible truth. There is no path, no truth, nothing. No one traversing the path, nothing. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. Till then, follow the way beyond the way. Practice with love and enthusiasm. Practice with discipline and perseverance. Follow the path to the end of the path. I want to thank you all for coming this evening, bringing the fullness of your sublime nature, your Buddha nature, your enlightened nature. We can call it the divine self, the infinite. It's already fully there, fully you. Everything about you is that, and everything beyond what you know is that. Oh, we practice. We can revel in that. Be transparent to that. Shine the light of that into the world. Walk that into your everyday life. So, thank you. Thank you for being ones who do that, who are committed to walking the path of meditation and walking that wisdom, that truth, that love and compassion into the world. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. And I look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.